Hey, what's up, guys? It's Lewis Beasley from lewisbeasley.com, youtube.com/streamlewis, and whatever .com channels you can find me on. Check this out. In this video, we're unboxing one of the hottest items to hit the market this year, and just in time for Christmas. This is the Smart Balance Wheel Hoverboard. Now, I know you've seen these all over the internet. You've probably seen them all over television and all over in your local stores. Well, some local stores, but it is indeed one of the hottest items to hit the shelves this year, and we're unboxing it right here on my channel. Hey, keep it locked, man. We'll be right back. So there's quite a few reasons why I chose to go with this particular board, and I'll share that with you in just one second. There's a lot of different types of these boards, and to be honest with you, nobody really knows the name of what these boards are. You have the Smart Balance Board. You have people call them hoverboards. You have all sorts of names. So there's really no particular name to go by. If someone says hoverboard, they're referring to these type of boards. In fact, I don't even know where the name hoverboard came from, because the hoverboard I think of is the one you see in the old Back to the Future movie, right? It doesn't touch the ground, but it actually floats above ground. I guess if you don't look at the wheels, it feels like you're floating. I don't know. In any event, this is the hoverboard, and this is the Smart Balance Wheel, whatever you want to call it. This is it. Now, there's various types of these different hoverboards. Some of them have the inflatable wheels, some of them don't. Some of them are shaped a little bit differently. Some of them are different colors. Some have different options, so on and so on. But for the most part, it looks like the majority of these are all created possibly out of the same factory, at least from the same location. From the research that I've done, most of these are actually made in China, so they're overseas. You do have a couple US manufacturers that are starting to mimic these, but I haven't got my hands on one. There are different kinds. There are some pluses and minuses to the various kinds, and I'll share a little bit of my feedback on that in just a second also, all right? In the meantime, let's get this thing unboxed. So on the box, for some reason, it's showing red, but I did not purchase the red. This is actually the black version, and you'll see that here in just a second. Alrighty. So right on top here, we have the user manual, and it's probably worth reading when it comes to this particular hoverboard. I will say this user manual that comes with this specific model, let me warn you ahead of time that you can almost tell that it was written in a different language, and a computer regenerated that language into the English Standard Language. So there's a lot of fragment sentences and different things that make the sentences hard to understand. I'm warning you ahead of time. So that being said, it does come with a user manual. Use it for your precaution. We got the charger port, or the charger brick. This isn't a standard jack you would find in your local store anywhere. So if you break this power brick, or you somehow break the port, more than likely you have to go back to the manufacturer or the place that actually makes these and request a new one. Purchase a new one. Let's put that off to the side here. Alrighty, getting to the good stuff. Now, I'm going to do a little spoiler alert here that I have already opened this. I've gotten sort of used to the balancing of this board that I'll get to in just a second, but this has been opened before. This isn't the first unboxing. I know you're upset. Lewis, how come you couldn't wait for us? I couldn't wait, man. I had to get on the board. I had to test it out. I had to give my opinion of it, right? So please forgive me. Please forgive me, all right? All right. Now this thing is pretty heavy. It's something you probably don't want to carry around for a long period of time. It weighs about 26 pounds, I believe it is. The max speed of this particular board is 7 to 10 miles an hour. Let me tell you, the average person, when they're sprint running between 6 and 7 miles an hour. So to go 10 miles an hour on this is like a full sprint, or running for most people. I'm going to tell you right offhand that I don't know if you would want to do 10 miles an hour on this board. I know you're saying, come on, Lewis, 10 miles an hour. Yeah, we would love to do 10 miles an hour plus more. not on this particular hoverboard, not on a hoverboard, for the simple fact there's nothing to grip onto. It's just totally different. This is not like riding a skateboard or a scooter. This 10 miles an hour is a different type of 10 miles an hour, and I'll go into detail on that in just one second. So the hoverboard itself is definitely heavy duty made. I think the max weight on this one is 280 pounds. Now I'm 240 pounds, but don't look at me right now like, oh, it's 240 pounds, you're fat. I'm actually muscular, so don't get it messed up, okay? The max weight on this one is 280 pounds. They may make some that are a little more heavy duty, but the average seems to be about 280 pounds for the max weight of this. Like I said, this thing is very well made. It definitely has some weight to it. 3 hours riding time is the time that they're actually telling you that the battery will last for 3 hours. But come on, let's use a little bit of logic here. We all know that marketing schemes can be a little exaggerative at times, right? So you're not going to get 3 hours. Well, you may get 3 hours out of this board, but I will tell you it depends on a couple factors. One, it depends on how much you weigh. The more weight and the more strain you put on that motor, the harder that motor is going to have to work, right? And the harder the motor has to work, the more battery juice it's going to suck down. That's common sense. Also, going at an incline instead of a perfect parallel direction is also going to play a big role into how much battery juice you suck down. So if you find yourself going uphill quite a bit more, again, that's that motor having to work harder to pull this board and your weight uphill. You're going to use a lot more battery juice. For the most part, I've been riding this off and on several days now for about 30 to 45 minutes, and it lasted me about 4 days. So you can do the math and figure out how long that is. Again, that's off and on riding. I haven't really tested this, you know, riding straight for however many hours or however many minutes to see how many I can get out of that. I will do that, but I have not done that just yet. So on the top part of this board, you have your battery indicator. This is your battery indicator light that tells you if the battery is getting low, or it also lights up when the battery is charging. And right beside that, you have your function light. And I'm assuming that this function light is basically a status indicator, which tells you that, hey, everything is working okay. I have seen this thing light up red a couple times, and I think what it is that the sensors become off balance or uncalibrated. And I'm assuming they recalibrate themselves and everything works out fine. Again, I only seen it once or twice flash red when I had 1 foot on it. And then again, I haven't seen it do it since then. So I'm not 100% sure what that circle light is beside your battery indicator, but that's the whole point of reading the manual, right? Learn what everything is on this board. I just haven't done it yet. Now, I did go with a specific board that has the LED lights on the front of it, which is, you know, a plus for me. And again, I'm gonna get into that in just 1 second. On the back here, you actually have your power button, and then you have your charging port for actually charging the unit. The wheels themselves feel like they're made of great quality. This is hard rubber. It's not inflatable. I didn't want to have to deal with the fact of having to check the pressure and keep airing up the tire when needed. So this is the hard rubber wheels and not the inflatable wheels. A big plus for that also, and I'll talk to you about that in just 1 second. Now, there's several reasons why I chose this board, and one of the reasons is because of the wheels itself. Again, like I just mentioned, that the wheels on this particular board are just hard rubber. There's no maintenance needed for these wheels. And I can tell you right now, you can step on this board and there's no type of indication that you're putting too much pressure on these wheels, right? This wheel, the wheels always keep the same pressure within themselves. Rather than, you know, if you had an inflatable tire, then once the tire gets slightly bit low, then you're going to notice that, and you're also going to feel the friction when you ride the board. Again, I didn't want to have to deal with maintenance, so I didn't get the inflatable tires. Plus, on the inflatable tires, if you search the internet, I did my homework, man. There's a lot of complaints about people feeling the friction from those inflatable tires when they're riding outside. Again, that's just a con that I didn't want to deal with, and I can say that this choice with these hard rubber wheels was the right choice for me. Now, the LED lights on the front of this thing is a big plus, especially for those of you who are going to be doing riding at nighttime. Now, you're probably looking at me right now saying, Lewis, come on, we're not going to be riding at nighttime. Well, you may not, but some people do. And I can tell you, it's going to make a big difference in regards to you watching out what's in front of you, right? I'm telling you, a slight little pebble in the street or a rock in the street ran over on this thing, especially the faster you go, the more you have a chance of wiping out. So, you know, at least being able to see a little bit in front of you is a big help in terms of safety. Also, the sensors on this thing are very, very responsive. I read a lot of reviews from some of the other boards, and more common I found among the other boards is that people are complaining about that you have to put a little more pressure on the wheels themselves for the sensors to react. And some of the other complaints is that, you know, the sensors react, but they react in such a delayed fashion. So, you know, there's like a millisecond or a few milliseconds in regards to the sensors being delayed before the board actually does something. That may or may not be. Again, my whole point is I wanted to get the best board for the best price. And for me, this seems to be the best board for the best price at this time. So riding this board is fairly simple if you're coordinated. I can tell you right now that if you're used to skateboarding or if you're a rollerblader, you're gonna have no time learning how to balance yourself on this board. You know, I was able to hop on this board, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, I had the hang of it and I was zipping right along. For some of you who may be a little bit more uncoordinated, it's gonna take you a little bit longer to learn how to maneuver and balance yourself on this board. That being said, the average person, I can guarantee you, will learn how to ride this board within 30 minutes. So you can take someone who never skateboarded, never been on rollerblades or skates themselves, they're gonna learn how to ride this board in about 30 minutes. That's probably about the average time the average person would learn. So again, if you're coordinated, you're used to balance yourself on balancing activities, you're gonna be able to jump on this board right away in pretty much, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, you're gonna have the hang of it. For other people, it's gonna take a little bit longer. So pressing one foot down on this board will actually turn the board itself. So if you're standing with both feet flat on the board and you press your right foot down, then it's actually gonna turn the board right. And if you press your left foot down, it's gonna turn the board left. Pressing both feet down themselves will move the board forward, and then if you simply tilt your heels backwards, it's going to take the board backwards. So if you take a closer look at this board, you can tell that there's a cylinder, a movable cylinder right here in the center, and this allows you to maneuver the board with both feet. So again, pressing one foot down will turn the board in that direction, and then pressing both feet down will actually take the board forward. Fairly simple to get the hang of. If I can ride it, any of you guys can ride it. Outdoors versus indoors. Let me tell you this, there's going to be some people who say this thing is made for outdoors. There's going to be some people who tells you that this thing is made for indoors. Let me be honest with you. This thing is made for outdoors and indoors. In my opinion, for me personally, I just got a better experience riding this thing indoors. I did ride it outside a couple times, and what I found is that there's just a lot of things you have to watch for and maneuver around when you're riding outside. You can't go up the curb, well, you can go up the curb, but I can guarantee you're probably going to scratch the bottom of this. This board sits pretty low to the ground, so if you're trying to ride it up a curve, you're going to wipe out and you're going to scrape the bottom of it. Also, you have to, you know, dodge rocks or any type of objects that are in the street. And also riding this on a smooth surface versus the pavement is a different experience. You can definitely tell that you're on that rough pavement when you're riding outside versus riding on a smoother floor indoors. So for me personally, it was just a better experience riding indoors versus outdoors. So if you have a wide open area in your home, if you have a bigger home, or you know, if you work in a factory and these are allowed, or if you work in an office building, these are allowed in your office. For me personally, that would be the ideal thing to use it for. But some of you are outdoors people and you will prefer to experience this outdoors. Again, you're gonna have two different types of people, but for me personally, I just had a better experience, or I have a better experience riding this thing indoors. So who is this product for? You know, in my opinion, this product is for just about everybody. And let me explain my answer just about. I really personally don't recommend that children ride this board, right? I'm gonna be honest with you, this thing really does have some torque to it. You know, if you're not perfectly balanced when you turn, or even when you're moving forward or backwards, you know, if you go in a different direction than this board is actually going, and it's going to happen from time to time, this thing will throw you off. This thing really does have some torque to it. It's a very, very powerful board. And in my opinion, you know, children really shouldn't be riding this. It's just a little bit dangerous. Now, I know you see kids on YouTube riding this all the time. And hey, you know, more power to them. But for those of you who are probably watching this video and thinking about getting this for your children, let me just forewarn you, these are very dangerous boards. You know, there's lots of stories that's been on the news and on the internet, people breaking hips and legs because they're falling off these things. These things are very responsive and they're more powerful than you think. So you can really seriously hurt yourself, and in my opinion, it's just safer to leave the kids off of it. So who are the boards for? In my opinion, I would probably say teenagers up. So, you know, if you're an older teenager or an adult, then these boards are definitely for you. Enjoy them and have fun. Secondly, it depends on how much you weigh. You know, if you're a teenager and you may weigh 90 or 100 pounds, you may want to think about it also. You know, you're going to need some weight to be able to balance yourself and control this board. Also, the torque response that comes back from it, you're going to want to control that too, and that takes body weight. So just something to keep in mind if you plan on buying it for your children or for a loved one for this Christmas. So that's about it, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning into this video. And again, go out and get you one of these hoverboards. These things are really, really fun. You just make sure that you be careful, alrighty? Hey, till next time, I'll see you guys later. Pow! Sound you later, man.